Okay. Should we start doing some stuff?
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay. For posterity's sake, I told Will that I would read the intro from Saturday, so that all of our fans, on YouTube, know what happened on Saturday, or at least know how it introed. But other than that, then we'll just kind of start vamping about things. So let us begin. With this. From darkness comes a dim glow and a faint sound of crackling embers. Then a voice. A growing maelstrom of buffeting winds and swirling shadow stuff, eventually crescendoing to a point. Overwhelming white noise. Suddenly it all stops. We are in a field of white, total silence. Flashes of scenes playing out in slow motion, scenes similar to those that we've seen once before. Though something about them is different. Dawn will come. We see a man, tattered cloak pulled up over his head, brilliant white light reflecting off both the lenses of his goggles. Gold coin he twirls across his fingers of his left hand. The path is forged. The scene fades into one of a shot of a pale elven woman with fiery red hair, sitting alone against a wooden wall, but for the corpse she clutches across her lap. A sudden flare of white light illuminating the scene. The chosen shall step forth in the darkness. A familiar workshop door swings open to reveal a white-haired tiefling covered in soot. His eyes strain in the unnatural bright light illuminating the scene before he hurriedly moves back inside with a look of determination. As embers burn out for a final time. A young boy sits at a window, an old tome in his grasp as he stares off over the high walls of the estate, watching the white light cascade down over the countryside. Towers shall crumble. A gruff man in hunter's garb cleans the meat from a freshly downed buck before he is taken by surprise as the light of a sunny day suddenly intensifies to one of unnatural bright white light that overwhelms the scene. As chaos washes over the land, a line of soldiers stand in shock as they watch the gargantuan titan of ash and smog hurry toward the city gates. White light growing in the sky above. We see a gray-furred tabaxi marching behind the soldiers, playing a soft song of calm and vigor in his wooden ocarina. One shall pass through flame. A field of bodies recently put to the sword and torch. Women in white shawls move throughout the scene with precision, from down body to down body. One kneeling by a bleeding but still breathing soldier. As the white light grows, the woman in a tricorn hat instinctively dives over the dying soldier in a last attempt to help. And the chains of darkness shall be broken. A dark and overcast mountainside, two men engaged in deadly battle. One hulking and barbaric, swinging a heavy weapon with rage and fury, the other poised, calculated, and alarmed. They fight as if one will leave this place standing, but both are distracted by the light that tears through the dark clouds engulfing them together. The path is forged. And finally, we watch as a man fights for his life against vicious waves and primordials, downing many, but the number of foes too great. Steel and claw rain down upon the squire of Centrell before he and the rest of them covered in the white light. Dawn will come. White light hangs in our vision as the sounds of battle fade, and is it picking up from that exact moment when the white light fell upon its familiar characters. That light fades, we see a large chamber. The ground covered in a light layer of rolling fog, The large tiles clearly was pristine, cracked and broken and aged. The walls are crumbling, broken. Pillars that once held up some grand, now collapsed ceiling climb into an empty sky of dark swirling clouds. On one end of the room stand a group of familiar figures, and on the other end of the chamber an oversized stairway that climbs up to the empty seat of the crumbling throne. Once built for the god of dawn, the shining keeper of the sun, now that seat is vacant, dark with shadows. Flanking the giant-sized throne on either side, massive banners, dark tapestries, one may think were created from the stuff of shadow for how dark the swirling purple fabric moves. In their center, the stark white skeletal hand, sigil, viscerous, lords over this broken throne room. As you take in the massive chamber, a voice rings out from everywhere and nowhere, perhaps echoing from within your minds. Well done. Seems you have passed every test you have been given. It is rather difficult to surprise a god, though it seems you have proven even that is not impossible. I do wish, however, that you may have brought more of your fallen kin along with you, for snuffing them out all at once would have been ever so satisfying. But that is no matter for now. It has been a long road, or it must feel like, what, a few months since this journey began. You have been chosen, each and every one of you, for a reason. That reason unique for each of you. Some because of who you are, others what you have accomplished, and the rest for what lies within. I welcome you to the ashen halls of Celestia, where my petty brethren played lord above you mortals for far too long. I must apologize for its current state, but I have been busy. Now, you chosen few, I lay forth an opportunity. Rather than dying here for nothing, I offer a chance to shape not just the mortal planes and those beyond, but to take part in the refounding of the cosmos itself, all in the name of the King of Kings, God over the light and the shadow, wielder of death, of time, and of the dark. Now, come forth and bow before me, pledge to bring glory upon this great kingdom. Discard your ashen husks within you and accept my blessing. Become my champion, and we may wipe this place clean of what little remains of the gods of dawn, dusk, and of ash, and begin anew, a pantheon not of rebirth, but one of reinvention. What say you? And we know what happened from a battle with a lich god, who you did not see eye to eye with, ended in your favor after defeating his hordes of undead, figuring out how to keep them down, and eventually shooting him in the face with a gun. Who let guns in this world? Idiot. The stranger was defeated, and then you all felt the feeling within you, those of you in Celestia. You felt a heat You began to see a light falling through the dark clouds above. That intense heat kind of coming from all over and eventually coming from within. That feeling was not one of pain. It was also not one of comfort. You were all filled with a sense of uncertainty, but also of power, as that ember that you carried inside you began to reignite. You felt the power of a god growing within you. Those of you that held the embers, you know the power of them to be quite unwieldy, difficult to control. Certainly not a power that is guaranteed. So, those of you carrying embers, you have a choice to allow those embers to ignite or to stamp out that flame, snuff that spark of a god ever existing again. And that was where the screen whited out and the story ended. Now we have the opportunity to talk epilogues, to talk endings for your characters, and this is not like I don't have anything prepared for these. These are your characters. These are your endings. I have some that have been sent to me that we can do some readings of, but also there's the opportunity to chat and talk about how you, if there's things you want to rack, if there's maybe there's a chance that you can wrap some things before you ascend, if that's your goal, or maybe you're snuffing an ember and you don't want to ascend. Obviously, there's the world exists 33 years from now, and it's one ruled by dragons. So keep that in mind as we move forward.
Let's go. Let's fight him again after that intro. Let's do it again.
It was hard. It was hard to read that, knowing what happens. I feel like he lost a little bit of confidence in my voice. It's hard to be overconfident and smug when I know he gets fucking rolled.
A shot in the face.
Will, you're here too.
Yeah, buddy, I'm here. Yeah. Hey, getting shot in the face isn't so bad. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Labius would know.
Yeah. So, I don't
He
know.
was
exactly
a
how
CR
to do
what
this.
again?
26. CR 26.
CR 26. Rolled.
Plus minions. So absolutely rolled. You got one of you down to 13? Was that the lowest that I got?
Yep.
That's what good preparation and Embers of Gods do for you, I guess.
Yeah. And the right resistances.
Yeah. You guys were built. You guys were built for it. That's what you gotta do. Maybe next campaign the DM will be able to kill people. Fingers crossed. I'm ready. I'm ready to be killed. Make many characters.
Let's see. Will we have an SKT 2.0? We're killed.
Like there's a lot of retribution.
Unfortunately, I mean, Nick, you're always welcome to come and play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should let Ralph send you the pitch, the campaign pitch, and you'll be itching.
Yeah, I can send it to you, Nick, if you'd want.
It's insane.
What's your timeline?
Like timeline to start. Hopefully, I haven't nailed down, but zero session probably sometime in the next 3 weeks, sometime this month, October. It just kind of depends on how soon people get characters prepped and how quickly I get prepped after today.
After today, after the
After
fallout.
today. Yeah, after this whole epilogue, where I can finally know what certain stuff happens. But you know, you don't have to join right away if it doesn't line up with your timeline. You know, just if you have an interest in the future, just let me know.
You can email me.
Okay, I'll email you. I'll email you.
Just bait the hook. Just bait the hook.
Do it. Just tell us straight up what the most effective form of peer pressure is, and I will dive headlong into it. What works best on you, Nick?
Camera's on.
All right. So is anyone ready to talk about their character? I guess we should fill Nick in. The last time we saw Arthur was prior to you guys going to the keep in the Lamnic Woods. So prior to going to the Burden Pool where you first faced Vistris, you guys talked to Arthur via the stone about the army of the dead that was marching from Mount. Yeah. Arthur was with Fent and Colt and maybe some others. I don't know if Dvalin. I think Dvalin was with the dwarves, so he was not with them then. And he was warning the party about the zombie that was marching towards the Lamnic Woods. And then you guys jumped in a time portal, skipping an entire section of adventure and fought Vistris. And that was the last time I think we heard from him. Because you were then skipping like a stone across time and space. So canonically, Arthur and Fent would have retreated to the Hollow. And that's kind of where things left off for Arthur. Because the party just vanished off the face of the plane.
Is time linear in this world, or
Time was, let's say, like completely fractured at one point. So,
There's no rules.
yeah. So that's for Arthur. Last time we saw him.
Hollow's not so bad?
Yeah, totally. I mean, totally alive. And with Ben, and with a contingent of like Lady Evelina would have been there. So that's interesting. Does anyone want to begin? Does anyone want to have their time talked about? Does anyone? What do you think? What do you people think? I have 2 written epilogues at my disposal as well. One of them will probably end the session. Be ready whenever.
Well, before Selig could go, I mean, I obviously wrote something out, but that is completely contingent on did he get X-zoned out of the orb, or like since he wasn't a part of the Celestial Throne party, he could go first if he gets to do anything. We may not know what happens to him.
Yeah, as far as the people in the orb, there is some question there about what happens to them. I think they could very easily wake up in a white light in some version of time. And we can play out those stories as well. Those with embers. Because was Selig the only one with an ember in the orb?
think so.
Oh, maybe we should do non-embers first.
I know what I'm thinking. Non-embers might be good first. Which, if you like I said, I was pulling up all those characters. There's 1,000 of you. So like, if you want and that's the other thing. If you don't want your character to have an epilogue, like if you want to keep it totally like we don't know what happened to that guy, then that's fine too. Like that's your decision. Like these epilogues are for you guys to be able to wrap up those stories that you want wrapped up, and then we can rap about any questions that you have that I'm allowed to answer. But my lawyer is also on the call, and Prof will not allow me to answer some questions. So
I'll pipe up if.
well, some things will be unanswered. Croft is cooking.
Yeah, just curious, like, why did the Dragonborn come over here and destroy everything, and what's their biggest weakness? Thank you. I'll
I
listen
can
offline.
totally answer that. Let me just lay that out.
Can't trick me that easily, Nate.
Damn it! I thought I had you.
Get him another beer.
Yeah, deliver me a 6-pack, and we may start talking.
Bribes always work.
DM can be bribed.
DM can be bribed. Nobody chomping at the bit to finish your character's story.
Well, Zoman would be easiest because you'd never hear from him again.
Let's start with Zoman.
At some point, Steven's +2 arcane focus would go away, and he would probably.
Ooh, it was probably during that fight. We should probably do it all over.
Reroll.
I think you're right.
That would go away, and Steven would kind of get a little smile knowing that Zoman is out there using his whatever it is they're called. Not incantations. Whatever it is that artificers have. Infusions.
Mm-hmm.
That he's using his infusions maybe to create more jugs of mayonnaise for creatures to enjoy, or whatever it is gnomes do with their infusions. And that would be about the extent of what you would know about Zoman, who's on the hunt for his people.
He continued over those mountains and vanished into the night.
So, for what happened for the people inside the spirits, you're just kind of leaving it ambiguous up to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's very easy that they could wake up in some timeline and finish their days in one way or another, or not. Whatever you think.
I guess would be pretty easy as well. I guess with the idea that the people inside the sphere could end up anywhere and not together as well. Maybe Al could give his goodbyes, but he also may be forgetting some of your names at this point due to a certain cursed card pulled at one point. So he'll probably, with his short-term memory going, probably fall back onto the older things he remembers, and maybe find his way back to a ruined sanctuary he once resided in on some timeline, some place, when, who knows, I guess. But that shadow sanctuary we visited once there may be a lone owl there.
Yeah, very much like that idea.
I think Lucas, his inclination would be to return to the past of Starro Town, but I imagine that would be not allowed. Probably, I don't know if Elder Steven still exists or how multiverse rules work, but I would imagine that would not be okay. So I think Lucas would live in the modern times, looking for the ideal place to build a Colosseum and try and rebuild what he had in Starro Town.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would say that it's plausible that he could end up in a different timeline. As you saw, there were many spheres of doom at the end. So there's a possibility that he could have been from anywhere. But I also really like the idea. Who knows what's going on in Krizik these days? What if he popped out back in Krizik? Because that's kind of where they first found him. That would be a pretty good place for a Colosseum. And I don't know if the dragons, are expanding that direction or not.
I don't believe Krizik was mentioned in the intro.
Yeah, but that's interesting.
I do like that. Because, he avenged Ooze's death by defeating Neath Kai, and the curse of his spear is broken.
Yeah.
And he is a man out of time. So.
Doesn't really have ties anywhere at this point.
Nope.
Kind of love that.
Who else was in the Sphere team?
Selig, but we'll hold off for Selig. Steven Simulacrum, which met the end, which met his end in the Sphere.
That's true.
He's a snow cone.
Yeah.
We'll see if he gets his final wish.
Kale Lagandu.
Yeah, Kale and Lagandu.
Yeah. They go back to Krizik. Induced.
Both. Reunited together.
Yeah. Also true. Old friends unite. And yeah, Lagandu goes back to be a hunter for the village, and Kale bounces in and out of the village, doing druidy stuff and healing, and then taking care of the jungle.
Perhaps hanging with Lucas. There's so many characters. It's insane as I'm going through all this. Sorrow was in there. The heck happens to her? I don't know.
I imagine she goes wherever Anna goes.
She reunite with Anna.
I don't know if she can. So Anna's in Celestia.
I would agree with that. But it's more of a is it possible, I guess.
Yeah. I think maybe Sarah's a question mark. At least for now. Because, I don't know what she does.
I'm a bounce for tonight. Michael, Paul, thanks for having me.
Heck yeah.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you, Nick.
jumping in.
Good to see you,
Great to
man.
see you, Nick.
Hey guys, good to see everybody.
Hope it's
Thanks
not
for
2
jumping
years
in.
until next time.
Yeah.
Dropped, I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Love to hear that.
See you guys.
Later, Nick.
See ya.
Later. Yes, I saw him reading.
He's diving in. Full bore. Yeah, I don't know about some. Maybe we wait to see what happens with the rest. But
She might have gone back to Graveforge.
yeah, seems like a bad place to go.
Oh yeah, I forgot that it's destroyed.
But she doesn't know that at that point. So
Then, it's under
I think-
management.
I think it would be fun for that one to kind of be a mystery.
yeah, I kind of think so
Let
too.
that be a thread maybe Croft can choose or not choose to pull on.
Yeah,
Wise
I think-
choice.
I think let her go. Where is her? There she is. There's... So big question mark. Sir Carmen Seeley. Retreats into the. I think he probably dies fighting fighting the dragons valiantly, or he was fighting in the field against the undead and kicking ass. He was actually in a different time. But maybe he gets dipped into.
Was it a? It was just in the past though. It wasn't in a different timeline, right? Or-
Yeah, so he's like old and just who knows. Those are two NPCs that we don't really know.
What was his name again? Sorry, I missed what you said.
Sir
Carwin.
Carwin.
Sir Carwin. That's right.
Is that everyone that was in the spear? Other than Sailor?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, yeah.
So,
do we
yeah,
have
I
any
think-
other non-Ember PCs. Any Epilogues?
No, Arthur Fent and Valen. I'm lining them all up.
What about Emil,
The what? Sorry.
our favorite spider elf?
Neil.
Emil.
Emil.
Emil. Does he get revenge?
It's a good question. We'll get to that.
Mm.
He's maybe we can talk about Emil. Let's wrap the PCs and let's wrap the party names. I think that's before we get to them. We don't need to do Emnus or Tumnus or Emnus, Emmy or Tumnus. Why can't you go
Rurik.
Rurik? Okay. Because they went into the astral seed to continue a different story thread. That maybe one day we'll pick up.
That leads us to Ember Squad then, yeah.
I think that leaves us to Ember Squad. Unless someone sees someone that's being forgotten.
I'll just say I wanted Nathaniel to have Rurik's Vorpal Sword for that final fight so badly, and then I counted it up, 76 attack rolls and got 1 crit, so it would not have mattered one bit at all. 76 rolls. So Rurik can keep that sword. Kind of angry with him.
I feel like I should put Captain Hop and Dyson on the screen, even though
Yeah, Captain Hop is dead. That's his epilogue.
they should just be out there. I feel like. Glint.
Maybe somebody recovered his body, and you can actually gaze upon Captain Hop's skeletal remains as one of the last known, rabbit folk in existence, with just a giant hole in the skull.
Speaking of brains eating out, Glint, he had his brain eaten out, and his body disappeared when you guys tried to come back to it. That's all.
And?
Nothing else.
Yeah, just a pool of salt water.
Just,
That's what I remember.
Yeah, just bringing it up. Don't worry about it.
Just a little reminder, I guess. Okay, now I think I have everyone out there. All right, Ember group.
You're actually missing Maddie, for what it's worth.
Oh,
She was
The one
in the book.
the one session.
that's true. I wonder where she is. She must be an ominous fool. Yep. Boom.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot she was in.
I completely forgot about that. That's awesome.
There's Maddie out there now. Yeah, that's the thing. People hiding in people's folders. I could put Tomcat Brady out there, I guess. Yeah. Seems fair. Among the dead on the left side. Just digging through these folders. Is anybody else sneaking around? I don't think so.
Technically, don't have Salek down there.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull all of these people out now. Steven. Oops, Steven's bloodied for some reason.
Oof. Took quite a hit there, Steven.
Yeah.
Post Viscerous Isabel fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess is that something Steven still pursues?
Absolutely.
Should we resolve that now?
Steven's choice will be totally dependent on the choice that Isabel / Nothkeith makes.
In regards to how she approaches Steven afterwards, or
No, if she tries to ascend or not.
oh, she would be like first in line.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, Isabel's like first in line. She.
All right, everybody's out there, right? I'm missing somebody.
Nathaniel.
Where's he at? Oh, this guy's on folder.
Not the end of a session till we have a PC fight.
Man, that's an old Isabel token. 49
Yeah.
hit points.
49 hit points. Apparently it's not linked to... Okay. On to the Ember group. So, my Ember bearers. How do you want to do these epilogues?
Yeah, I think I volunteered myself accidentally when I said Isabel would be first in line. Igniting her ember. I don't know exactly how the timeline of whether or not it's all at once or people get a bit of a moment to decide or not.
I think in my head it's a bit of both. I think when you're making that decision, your mind perhaps goes elsewhere, and maybe you live some amount of your past life through your eyes. Maybe you live a certain amount of your life, play something out. Like, who knows exactly how, the mind like takes this, to happen. Like maybe you just ignite it and you ascend, and it's over for you. I don't know. But if you have some thoughts and you want to see, a glimpse of Isabel doing something else in the before she's gone, that's totally within your rights.
I don't think that's where I was going with that, as far as because she has no hesitation about this. So there's no she's not she wouldn't be reliving some part of her past life as sort of this is what I'm gonna do. But I was more thinking would there be a moment for words with the other Ember holders before?
There could be. You could say some words definitely before.
Because I think Isabel would encourage everyone to ignite. As she has having Nothgeet's Ember of sort of seer and foresight and fate, and maybe it's also meta because I'm a little bit of the DM. I'm the DM of the next campaign. Would have a glimpse of what's happening, or an inkling of an idea of what's happening outside the sphere, outside Celestia. And she came here anyways, knowing the rising force that this hopefully united pantheon would have to face in the future, in the near future. And so she would encourage everyone to ignite their embers, because they will be up against a force perhaps just as deadly, if not deadlier, than Viscerus. And that their home is not yet saved. that she understands people may have misgivings about her departure. And its suddenness and perhaps abandonment of the party in what seemed to be a very dire time. But she would remind all of you, those that went in to Briarwood amongst the party are all still here. Stephen, Anna, Saru, Nathaniel, Arthur is still out there. She, despite her apparent farness from the party, was never without trying to aid them in whatever way she could. Some here would know that. Like Anna, who Isabel guided to Rowena. Saru as well. And so I don't have anything else for her aside from people's possible reaction to this. Will you join her in this new pantheon? Where the fight is not yet over.
I'm Bistrus. I'm dead.
I mean, I can tell you that Xerxes also wants to ignite his ember. He feels like people do need gods to help in their daily life and to do what's right. And he knows that the last pantheon did a poor job of that, and he wants to stand up for, all the things he believes in. So he thinks that though he would not encourage everyone to do it, but would say only do it if you feel like you have the strength of conviction of your moral compass and the wisdom to effectively lead, then, for the next untold amount of time. So he would say if people don't feel that they're ready for that or able to do that or want to ascend for their own selfish reasons, he would encourage them not to do it. But he would, of course, welcome any of you with him on that journey. But that's how he's kind of viewing it. So it's not like he's specifically pointing out like any one of you. He's just posing that as what he feels like is the next, like what this means. It's not just about being a god. It has a much more deep responsibility that comes along with it that shouldn't be frivolous.
What's Nathaniel doing?
So
What's he
of course I wrote something out, so I'll go when Michael tells me to go on these because I have co narrators, I guess, on both.
Yeah. I think we'll hold off on Nathaniel's. We can do. I mean, Sally's not with these people yet. I guess in this moment, if you want to give them an inkling of like Nathaniel's choice, you can do that, or you can hold off.
I think I don't think he would. I don't think he would say anything. I think if you were to have a good perception roll, as it were, like you would see excitement within him, whether that's the bloodlust of the fight or the desire for the payoff. If you would have to weather a guess based on just the way he looks, you would think that, yeah, it's his assumption that he would probably do it. Or he may just be super excited about all this being over now that he gets to kind of be his own person. So I'd say, you know, from an outsider's point of view, if you had to put money in and bet, you'd be betting on him going.
Move him up just for the time being. Anna, I think it's tough because I don't like make the decision for this character. But she also has kind of a difficult task before her because her ember came with strings attached. And that was that she has to go because Rowana's ember needs to be on the Pantheon. Those were the words there. So I think likely she struggles with making that choice because this wasn't how she saw it working out. Like, she wielded Sin's law this whole fight. Like, she became as close to a paladin Sin as anyone. This whole campaign. That's kind of what she ended up setting out almost to do. And now she's kind of I think struggling with the conflict within her that the ember is of Rowena and what that could potentially mean. But I think that she also has a lot of faith, a lot of strength in herself, that she's in more convictions. I think that she is probably going to ignite that ember. If I had to make that call now, that's what I think that she would probably do. But perhaps she last second decides to crush it. That's the other thing. You guys don't necessarily, I guess, or need to know that each other is here whenever you. Some people might just do it. People might wait. Some people. It's all kind of happening all simultaneously. Saru, what are you thinking?
I think think I'm ready for you to read
What?
Selig and Nathan's.
I can do.
I said I think I'm ready for you to read Selig and Nathaniel's monologues.
We can definitely do sailors. Steven, so we need a little bit of time.
Right.
Should we take our 8:30 break?
I think Saru would go. Yeah, I mean, I think he would go. Because he's already... outlived his time anyway.
Yeah, his mortal life has been over for a little while now. And who doesn't need a god like Saru on the pantheon, you know? Alright, let us do the 8:30 break. We'll come back, do the Selig, and then we'll hear from Steve. What up? Are we back?
Yes.
I'm back.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Are my Selig bros ready?
Selig is ready.
Right. Okay. I'll take that as a we're ready. Jump in. Selig Epilogue. Selig leaned forward in his chair to study his next move. It was a simple chair, wooden, no stain, no splinters. The steam from his newly poured cup of tea danced in the breeze, the drafty great room of his shop. His shop, the Grub Staker's Parlay. Everything he wanted was there. Fire in the hearth, Klaus resting by the open flame, the giant brown bear happy to have his companion back, fresh tea within his grasp, rousing game on the table before him, with a formidable opponent on the other side of the table. Everything was right. No rat race, no spheres of doom, no internal struggle having to fight against the avarice that once controlled his life. Just a moment in time where his biggest concern was contemplating his next move on the board.
No matter how long you look at it, nothing is gonna change. May as well face the music. I have you surrounded.
Now, you know I invented this game, right? Maybe I have a trick up my sleeve.
You may have invented this game, but I know a filibuster when I see one. I have your Chancellor trapped. It's over. And I happen to know a thing or two about ending things.
Indeed you do, my friend, Selig says as he tips his Chancellor onto his side, conceding defeat. Indeed you do. You know, this is the perfect moment. I could stay right here forever. Peace. I have peace.
Perhaps. But why do I get the feeling that there's a but that is going to start your next sentence?
However, Selig said, beaming with pride that he didn't say the word but. However, there's no denying it, is there? There will always be another Viserys, another Neithkai, another Ragul, another being that doesn't care if they trample the people of this world in order to get the power they want. Another being that delights in suffering, another being that would love nothing more than to put the innocent under the heel of their boot just to climb another rung on the ladder. Selig paused, knowing full well he was trying to talk himself into doing what needed to be done. The people will always need a way to fight back. They will always need a chance to tip the scales, and that can't be done with diplomacy and negotiations when it comes to tyrants. They will need a warrior. No, they will need the warrior. Sargonas must remain.
Even if it means giving up on all of this?
They both let out a laugh. They looked around at the humble room of a rundown game store. But after a moment of levity, Selig looked around, and his expression changed. The memories of the kobold came rushing back. From growing up in the sewers, with nothing to the heights of living in the Platinum District. Nothing he ever acquired gave him happiness, gave him peace. But right here, right now, he thought as he took a sip of tea, this is peace.
Yes, even if it means giving up all of this.
With a sense of resolve and steadfastness, Selig stood up from his chair, his plain, unstained, perfect chair.
Well, I guess we should go shut down the sanctuary and be on our way.
As they descended the stairs into the sewers of Briarwood, Klaus barely moved. He was content by the fire and his experience. Every time Selig left, he would eventually come back. He had no reason to believe anything would be different this time. Upon entering, nature had already begun to overtake Selig's sanctuary. One last time, he went from room to room, looking at the treasures he had spent a lifetime accumulating. An old chess set with the pieces being representations of the now old gods. Diorama of the Jade Archive. A huge wooden slab with microburns that created an image of Tabaxi surrounding a T-Rex. A framed letter congratulating the recipient for buying a home in the Platinum District. And especially the sculpture. A feminine figure wielding a pike, one hand resembling a draconic talon. A circular orb hanging from her waist, the symbol of Viserys hanging from her neck. He chuckled as he realized recent events would probably increase the value of that particular item.
It's time for nature to take this place. It's time for me to go to a new home.
Come on, Selig. I think we'll do just fine. Hey, you'll probably invent another game I can beat you at constantly.
Fate white. Selig joins the pantheon. Which leaves Steve question mark.
So we come to it at last. In preparation for this battle, I knew this choice would be laid before me. And yet here we are. I find myself embittered and torn. It is undoubtedly clear to me that the gods themselves are the ones to blame for allowing this situation to happen. I don't know if Isabel's actually, I don't know if I'm getting to actually address everyone or if it's just, internal dialogue. But
Either way, it's fine.
yeah, we'll have it be a nice little dream sequence then, with all of y'all standing there. Stephen will look at Isabel dead in the eyes and say, "You have blood on your hands for allowing this to happen. The only thing that makes me want to go is the last Pantheon failed so badly that this situation could have been allowed to take place. Clearly, leadership, intelligence, conviction, people looking out for the common good is needed. I am so tired of being used for other people's gains. I am the master of my fate, and I do not want to let anyone try and meddle with me again. However, I was made to be a weapon. I was created for this, trained for this, and I am tired. I do not want a life of eternity fighting some sort of cosmic battles against never-ending opponents. I am sick of you and the gods. Most importantly, when the gods were needed, when real people were hurt and were dying, the gods abandoned us. It was ourselves. We are the ones who fought the Battle of Briarwood, who ascended into the woods, had to try and save the situation, not the gods. You all are going to try and make a new and better Pantheon, and I wish you all the best. But the DNA of the gods will always run in your veins now. Their failure will forever tarnish every decision you make. The same poor thinking will infect your own, and we will be here again. I feel it's my duty to stay, that there's someone actually willing to fight for the people who are affected. I care not what cosmic battles happen in planes that I cannot see. I wish to live in peace, and if necessary, be called upon to do actual good instead of being abandoned once again. And Stephen will extinguish his ember.
That's sick.
That is wild. I love it.
I love that so much. It fits so well. I almost see that happening and him crushing it and then just like blinking out. Like maybe he's on another plane, maybe just like warping.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick.
Thanks.
I love that.
I can say with honesty, I didn't decide until 30 minutes ago. I was very torn about it the entire time.
Did you write them both out?
No, I just honestly was just kind of thinking about it. It was basically choice A was to ascend and to make the full villain turn and start a new cosmic war against Isabel. Or choice B was to do that. And I think he would try and be away from the gods as much as he could, and just knowing. I think knowing that the gods were. I like the idea of the thought that the DNA of the gods, whether it's an Isabel, a Nothgeeth, a Rowena, or an Anna, they're still the gods in there, and that he can't avoid that, and so he would want to distance himself from that as much as he can.
Good.
I think that is a big yes. There's been a lot of hint, a lot of whatever it may be, a lot of prophecy about this being a bit of not the first time that these gods have gone away and come back, and what that looks like. And there's definitely some question marks whether this ascension is just the reignition of the old gods coming again, or if this is someone else being able to actually overcome and become that new god. What that looks like, we don't know.
The wheel of time turns and ages come and pass, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's quite possible that this new pantheon will take a new form, and it's quite possible that eventually that old pantheon might come back. It's that is all big question marks. But
I don't know if I have the
think that's
power, but
super
I'll give you
cool.
a bottle cap.
He doesn't need it anymore. Maybe you can take
heard
it in a new campaign.
I was gonna
Everyone
say-
gets bottle caps. Everyone except Croft. He gets none.
Yep.
Find my own way to cheat.
But no, he's figuring me out.
And I can say with honesty, it was truly a 0.01%. Now, we might run into Steven in the next campaign. Who knows? That was very small. It was like, oh, there might be some older wizard of some form, and that might be.
Could be cool.
I love that. That was a good, surprising, but like when I think about it, it makes a lot of sense.
Very Steven.
Maybe he can go back and find Neil.
So that leaves just one, right? Unless we're now just rapid firing questions until you want to.
Yeah, I think we can chat, and then I'll end it on Nathaniel's, because I think that'll just be a good post credit scene.
There is still technically one other person
Oh.
that has an ember.
True.
Wow.
Very true.
Yeah.
What's Borseal up to, Michael?
Yeah.
The
There
last
was
time I saw
still one-
Borseal
Yeah,
was
and
in
The Hollow, right?
The Hollow. That's where he was left. So I mean, that's where he would be. He definitely never left or went out on his own. He definitely would have stuck with the Hollow and under the protection of Lady Evelina and Arthur and Fent and whomever else. Nothing sinister about Borseal. No matter how much you wanted it to be, everyone. Borseal was never sinister at all.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Totally. He's no longer mine. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing really about his story that would be any different. He was at the Hollow. That was the last place he was.
The Hollow Gang,
Hollow Gang.
which is
Reading books.
major characters?
Maybe writing books.
Maybe. Are there any other major characters in the Hollow besides Arthur, Fent, Dvalin, Evelina, and Borseal?
Colt was there.
Cole?
The dwarves.
Yeah.
Dvalin and the dwarves. They went to investigate Mountain Heart. That was the last time that we heard about them.
Sounds like a band, Dvalin and the Dwarves.
Dvalin and the dwarves. Udo Shadowback, Dorvin Orhart, Dorngrim Orhart, and Mag Shadowback. Oh, there were two bros, two sets of bros.
Just Just
Udo
growing
and-
it up, doing dwarf bro things.
Udo and Mag, and Gorn Grimmenstorben. They were badasses, actually. Absolute badasses.
What about Lady Evelina? Were those just racial components that gave her like the cool eyes and cool armor, and or is there something we missed there, or something I missed? Maybe somebody else picked up on it.
I thought it was she was an Azamar,
She was an Azamar. Yeah,
which meant that she was changed by the burning,
correct.
like Xerxes.
Like Xerxes.
Mm.
Yes, she was an Azamar. Um, which is interesting.
I guess what was her original race then? Was it just human?
Human. She was human, I
Okay.
believe.
She was the only other one we ever met, right?
Yeah, like key character. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Anna technically became one. Post being revived, I think. Yeah, that's such cool art with the gold
Yeah.
jar.
Did the first expedition truly make it to Greyforge?
They did. They did.
Being held prisoner?
They were being held prisoner. Yeah. I can't recall if they were all there at that point. I think they had lost a couple along the way. I mean, I know they had lost a couple because you found the grave of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a fun thing. Harriet, you found her grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the first magic items that I would hoped that you would have found. But you guys were so reverent in the fact that it was a dead woman's prayer beads that you left them there.
Yeah, Isabel didn't grab them. She left.
Yeah, they were prayer beads. I remember that like very strongly because I remember you guys checked Sir Garen's sword to see if it was magical or something because you were like, oh, we'll definitely use that. This dead man that we just watched him die, his sword, and then you found the grave of Isabel found the grave of like her mentor, and I was like, she'll definitely want that keepsake from her dead man. Nope, just left it. Yeah, prayer beads. I don't remember exactly what they did, but they were magical. That's the kind of deep cuts you guys can learn.
All right, so tell us about the halflings.
Will can tell you all about that.
That was my first piece of secretive knowledge, I guess, because we I would have to look it up. But when I say years, it has been years ago that I started emailing Michael about the Mind of Clavius episode, and which would of course happen in Brandy because of, home is where the stew pot is and all that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but during the burning, something happened with Brandy where it's a ghost town almost entirely throughout the month. But when there's a new moon,
I think so.
The town comes back, but it's as it was in 1434 or whatever that year is that they said they were from. And very occasionally, when the warden and his trusty steed don't keep people from wandering off, sometimes people can wander out of the town in the year that it was in the town and wander down toward Briarwood and happen upon a party, not knowing any different, thinking that it is still, 30 was it 30 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So every new moon, they're back. So if the party would have shown up in Brandy on a new moon, it would have been fully populated, big party going on.
Yeah,
But
it's always a
it's-
festival.
Yeah. So they were
And
they were
they stumbled out.
escapees.
Yeah, they stumbled out of the time loop that was going on in
That's cool.
Brandy, and that was why I was keeping track of the moon from the beginning. Was Brandy related? So
Interesting that it's all because of that.
that was the main version. It's like I don't have any werewolf things in mind or anything. It's just like I had this in mind. So you guys could have found Brandy, and there was further connection to Brandy and the Feywilds. So like that was there was some overlap there. So there was a further line of possible story to uncover there in relation to Fey things, but it just never got there. We never got to Brandy until really too late in the campaign. But
That was kind of my first taste of like how much of this Michael had laid out. It wasn't like, oh, we enter a dungeon and then he cuts a session short and then plans what's in there. It's like a lot of this, and I think you said it at the first session, like there's places you can go where you will die because there's stuff already in there. And just seeing that so many pieces were already on the board was pretty cool. I mean, that's a daunting task to do it that way.
some would say stupid.
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah. And not everything was as fleshed out as others, and some things were just merely like loose ideas for sure. But there were a lot of things that were like, but I also had so much time before this started, so I was able to do that, which was kind of nice. But yeah, I mean, some things definitely like that could be bad, but I also don't think they're going to go there, you know. But yeah,
Well,
we're
since
sending
Will,
that email. Okay, go ahead.
since Will's answering questions, why was Clavius growing and shrinking?
With the Paragus water.
Whatever it was, yeah. Whenever he was,
The
you always had to roll
Paragus,
every day.
the Paragus water making him grow and shrink. This is going to be such a letdown of an answer. Such a letdown. Was because he had to get bigger in order to fit into Sir Garen's armor, which would have been a bump in his armor class. So rather than just wake up the next day and have it magically fit and kind of maybe give clues that he was a changeling, I tried to pin it on the magical waters of Paragus, that maybe it had some sort of effect over several days. So yeah, that was a way to bump the old AC up. Nothing too fancy there.
of the necromancer fighter.
All right. Well, speaking of Paragus Lake, when we were there, Saru asked him a question, and Clavius said, "Ask me 14 days."
Oh yeah,
Oh gosh.
I remember that.
Yeah. Hey. Season 1 Q&A
Oh my
questions,
God.
baby. We're going back.
Oh my god.
Is there
Yeah.
any chance you remember the question?
Oh man, he did say
I
that.
don't. April 27th, 2021, somewhere around there. Yeah. I think it was probably something. It might have been something about the water or his size. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, same.
I do
Yeah.
not remember the question though. That's just my guess
I remember because it was one of those like
because I know
you
Sue
answered
never
a
asked.
question. You answered a question on mine or something. Like it was like a tit for tat thing.
Yeah, it was like a trade.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Clay was like, ask me in 14 days, and it was like, well, all right.
I'd honestly have to go back and watch the video and see what
Yeah,
the
that's
question
funny.
was.
Okay.
That's so fun. This is just a brag, but there was a symbol of Viscerus in every 0.5 session.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
so that's kind of fun.
That is fun.
Didn't find it in ours. Too busy lighting zombies on fire.
Was
Clavius found it. Yours.
it was on the table in Steven Anna's and mine, wasn't it?
I can't remember if it was. There's a hidden church in the sewers that you guys passed through.
Oh, is that where it was?
There was a like a hidden church to Viscerus in those sewers. That
Gotcha.
And you guys passed through. I think that's where you fought the Ettercaps.
Gotcha.
And then there was one in the cave where Lamy died in Fent in Arthur's, where Lamy turned into a gibbering mouther. I almost wish those sessions were recorded.
They were good.
Those 0.5s were good.
Yeah, because we'll never know everyone else's.
Yeah.
True.
I'd like to know, Preston, how your cats were connected.
Yeah, what's with the cats?
It's 9 o'clock. How much time you got?
There's an episode, I think, where there's a story about them.
There's a vanity project about all three of them. There's a vanity project about Saru's ancestry and also the creation of Port Hope. And there's stuff about Lagandu. Long story short, and I guess I can share the readings for those that want to actually delve into it. They were all three childhood friends, went on a camping trip. Kale disappeared. Kane, who became Lagandu, gave up being a fighter because he blamed himself for Kale's disappearance because they thought he died. And then Saru went up into the Vale to explore, and then the burning happened. And then Kale ended up... Do what?
I just said all cats know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kale didn't actually die in the forest. He was rescued by a druid. So then he was taught the ways of druidic, which is why he was able to come back as a healer. He was able to come back in the alternative Xerxes Fine Sailing timeline because his druid teacher taught him about Saza, the snake god of the jungle, who has some weird connection to time or is timeless or something like that. So he had the ability to send Kale to a different timeline. Lagandu, when he gave up being a fighter, went on a soul-searching find myself mission, or just journey, and ended up getting noticed because he saved a merchant from some bandits, and there happened to be a warrior from the Iktaka tribe that Sru always talked about, fabled, super awesome warriors, who recruited Kane. Kane, after joining them, was given a arm tattoo that was kind of a mock of the Dragonborn, or not Dragonborn, the dragon tattoos, like Saru had on his back, because the Iktaka tribe used them as just symbols of power and greatness. Because most of them didn't realize the tattoos still, or not the tattoos, the dragon marks actually could still manifest because they hadn't seen one in such a long time. And so then Lagandu was charged in going and investigating the primordial incursion. So he went over there, and turns out that the Iktaka tribe had ties to, was it Oracle?
Oh, the Oculus.
What was the bandit group?
The Oculus.
Oculus, yes. And so through investigating them, he found ties between the Church of Sin and Greyforge and the Pontus, which then led him to investigating that further. And then when he made his way up to Greyforge to start investigating Greyforge, the burning happened. And then through his investigative skills, he started hearing rumors about our party going through and causing all havoc, because he was starting to find thread leads between the Primordials and the other shady groups that were doing things through them. So that's when he was able to track you guys and meet you guys in Paragus Tower. Oh, what else? I guess I could drop this. On that camping trip, the reason why Kale went missing is because Kane was trying to prove he was a warrior, and so he heard some strange animal that they had never heard before, went out to try to fight it and kill it by himself. Saru woke up and found him in the woods, unconscious, while Saru and Kale were trying to carry Kane out of the forest. That creature attacked Saru, which is where he got the scar that Xerxes saw in the tent, whenever that was, that goes from like his hip to his shoulder. Turns out that that injury actually killed Saru. And the entire campaign, Saru was actually a reborn. And it turns out the monster that killed him or injured him was actually Neith, or Adith, the god kind of the jungle, or of Krazik, who knew from dealings with Saza and Rowena that she knew the Pantheon was going to have to be reborn, so she started making plans to have her reincarnate present. And it ended up being Saru.
Surprise second reborn of the campaign.
How many did we have?
Well, who knows? Maybe everybody was a reborn.
Was the Valen a reborn?
Vaughn was a Revenant, I believe.
Oh, Revenant.
I think.
Who's the other reborn you're thinking of, Nate?
Wasn't Glint?
Yeah, Glenn was a reborn. I wasn't sure if you were thinking. I couldn't remember if there was anybody else.
Yeah, Vaughn was a Revenant.
Okay. I was always thinking that he was a reborn.
Very similar. Some deep lore getting dropped right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was a lot. Like, I mean, I knew there was something, but
It was a
dang.
lot. Yeah. It just kind of kept building on itself, and it was like, well, all right, we can do this, and we can backtrack and retcon some stuff.
Was it
Yeah,
always your
it's-
plan? Like that you were going to have all your characters connected, or?
My plan was for sure if something happened to Saru once I wrote that backstory, that I was definitely going to bring at least probably Kane/Lagandu in as like a fighter warrior type person. And then after that, it was like, well, I've already got the three characters basically backstory. So why wouldn't I just run with it and just make it all three of them and have them be, together, then separated, and eventually get brought back together as long as they all survived. So it just kind of worked that way. Because Lagandu was supposed to be part of that Oculus side campaign that we were gonna do. And so that's where he got the name Lagandu, because Lagandu means the helper, because he was doing basically stuff to help kind of subterfuge against what was her name? The lady of the Queen of Centrel. Or not Centrel, Greyforge. Started with this C.
Yeah.
Sorani? Yeah. And so that whole arc was basically going to be, he's doing that, he's obviously catching side eyes from them, and then he was actually going to meet one of Will's characters, Sapila, and then they were going to get offered to go on whatever mission was going to end up being that Oculus campaign.
Speaking of the
yeah.
Oculus campaign, that was really cool. That I kind of forgot about that often on the Oculus campaign. In the first intro we got to the Ocello stuff that Michael and I did, one of the characters in there was going to be my Oculus character, actually.
Mm.
I think multiple people had glimpses of their Oculus character come forth in one way or another, even if it was just like bits and pieces that ended up coming, just because like those were all cool ass characters that didn't get to see light. Just upsetting.
It's all good.
So alternate
What
characters that would have been really funny, but never got a chance to flesh out because Connor went the way of Nick. Gorm had a ring of mind shielding that he was planning on protecting Maddie with his life, and when he died, she would basically get his ring. And the ring of mind shielding allows you to transfer your consciousness into it. And then so that curmudgeonly old grandpa was going to always be in Maddie's head. This little whippersnapper of a kid. And this old man just playing the funniest dialogue. But sadly, it never got a chance to play out. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that was so cool. So good.
Enough. Could have also happened with Clint.
And you said Glint was reborn from who, Croft?
I can say what his race was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a reborn Yuan-Ti. He was from Krizik. If we had played Tomb of Annihilation, there was a good chance we would have met him before Reborn.
Yo, Glint was too much fun.
He was too much fun.
So you probably offed him.
Well, I mean, his mind was eaten, and it was like he was basically a vegetable. And you guys didn't have any way to cure him at that point, so it was like, well, cart around his body for a while, and probably go the way of Captain Hop. Just end up in the bag of holding.
I mean, mind flayers is what I've realized. I should just use mind flayers all the time.
Just all the time. It wasn't even a mind flayer. It was a freaking intellect devourer.
Yeah, CR2, baby.
It was a mind flayer's pet.
They're so dangerous.
Ruff, when did you know about Daisen and all of like what was going to come to pass? Was that later, or did you kind of make him with that in mind?
Daisen's entire purpose from the start. I made him in mind.
Damn.
Once he found out about the Embers, that was his goal.
Dang.
Was to steal one and take it back to his homeland. That was his whole goal.
So I didn't pick up on it, but did you give any foreshadowing that would have, to a keen eye, said, "Hey, maybe we don't trust this motherfucker with the ember"? You know.
Looking back, I probably should have done a little bit more like you did with Clavius, and given a little bit more. I think I kind of figured that like there might be just some general intrigue, just given his foreign nature. You guys might have prodded, but I think we're such on the Ember hunt at that point, and such like we gotta go. You guys were just like, we gotta go do this.
Yeah.
It just didn't come up.
And we were so desperate for a powerhouse, like we weren't
Yeah,
about
that
to
too.
question somebody that brought that much to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, timing of his entrance was huge on his part to be able to do that, and also just like you guys needed somebody bad that could be him.
And he did like you guys. Like he liked being in your party.
It's not that much.
He just his loyalties lied elsewhere. Like he would, his praises of you were genuine. He just knew he wasn't on your team in the end.
I also think after we almost killed Dvalin right from the jump, I think we all just kind of realized, like,
Yeah.
we kind of just have to let everybody in. So it's not like like we could have been like, no, fuck you. Like that's just wasn't gonna happen.
No.
So
Yeah, I think there would be more opportunity for his story to like unfold if we weren't in the dire late game, like when he came in. Like it was just like if he had time to like lay some things down when things weren't as like hectic, I guess, as they were.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head there too, Nate, because like with Dvalin, I still like there was so much like I'm sus of this, like you're hanging out with undead, like your story doesn't add up, like this and that, and so it's like, okay, well, Daisen had none of that, so like what's the problem? Like let's get this done.
Mm-hmm.
So, to be fair, I could have done more to give him more hits. Makes sense why it wasn't prodded.
Yeah.
Given how good he was, and just we were just like we were marching into the marsh, and we weren't, playing around with anything. So there was really no downtime. you guys.
That was
have
also like a big moment of synergy, I feel like, for the party too. Like you guys just like started hitting with that part, like
Yeah.
like
The powers were all perfectly aligned.
everything was aligning because
front
Lagandu
line,
just entered and it was just like you had everything. Like, yeah, you guys were
House party.
a bit of a force.
Yeah. And your guys' enemies were also Dyson.
Yeah,
So he hated like what he called outsiders, people outside this world. So like the demons, devils, primordials, all he considered his enemy. So slid right in. And plus, once he tanked Xerxes' dynamite to the face, I don't think there was any chance of questioning.
oh, man. Yeah. That might have been the most powerful party that you guys took.
Kind of bad.
Yeah, I would say so. At least as far as like the synergy goes, I think that was our best.
The way we, infiltrated and just in that fort, we took down the crystals, pretty systematically
And pretty easily too. Like there was
Yeah.
no stress at all.
I think Mike was playing it fair. We just did it so well and so efficiently, like they didn't have time to respond.
Oh.
No, they didn't. It's insane.
You have a Karai token?
Yeah.
Just barely missing them.
He's probably must be on that map. Maybe I don't have the token. Thought I did because I was using one of the water deep tokens for it. Let me dig into the archive and see if I've got. God, what were those maps called? There's so much in the archive pages. What the fuck was that fort called?
I have no recollection. That part of the
Oh my
campaign is the
God.
fuzziest to me.
I know.
I remember there were the hags that were wanting to mess with us. I remember we were tree bouncing at that point. I have no recollection of it.
Something keep.
I know Steven, like the main guy there was named Drollmore, right? 'Cause
That sounds right.
I have Drollmore's spellbook and Drollmore's tiny chest.
He was wearing the ember as like
Mm-hmm.
a necklace because he hadn't actually taken it.
Mm-hmm.
Dyson was very surprised when you guys just let him take it.
Yeah, I must not have a correct token.
Really?
I can't find it.
It's just lost in the ether.
I swear that I would.
I don't believe you that we just missed him.
you.
He never existed.
He's just down the stairs. I think that's what it is. I don't think that map had a basement. Therefore. Because the map for that keep is actually a very similar, like there's a I don't know what it's called, but there was a keep by the same, like that I'm using the maps for from think the Dragon campaign, the either the Rise of Tiamat or the other one. I think that's where those maps all came from. For that keep in the swamp. It's like a 5-level fucking keep, but they don't have the basement mapped out, and that's where Karaka was. And you guys were a room away from the stairs that went down to where Karaka was. There was a lot of stuff on that map. There was a Vorpal sword somewhere on that map. There's a big ass giant outside. Or the giant was beat up. I can't remember. There was something.
Because we talked about freeing the giant, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a ogre or other giant that had all that giant shit on. Like they had taken it from the fire giant, and that guy, I don't know if he was a stone. I don't know what giant he was. I have to look at the notes. But yeah, that guy was wielding the fire giant's sword, which could have been taken. But you guys blew that place to smithereens with your plan. To smithereens. Yeah, what were they? Big ogres or Formians or something? I think I was using Formian tokens. God.
My memory is not as good as everyone else on this call, but I do remember being frustrated that we turned around in Mountain Heart and did not continue forward. Would we have just would we have actually gotten crushed had we continued through?
Not necessarily, no. It would have been definitely difficult, for sure. Because of the you guys were just facing the thralls at that point, and we've seen what happens when you face the other intellect devourers and mind flayers. So it would have been early, but plausible. There was an artifact down there.
Yeah, we left it. We found it.
That
we
was
intentionally left. Yeah.
That was next to him. That you left it. He didn't want to take it. It would have been difficult to take, to be fair.
Yeah.
But there was an artifact. I think that was the first artifact. Did I ever tell you about the vampire's heart? That was an artifact too.
No.
Maybe not an artifact, but it was the first time you guys went into the sphere. Then you found a staked vampire's heart that nobody wanted to touch, but it was
right, which is correct.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It was a necklace that you could have worn on your neck. Had abilities. In my brain, I really thought Fabius was going to take it.
He took some blood off of it.
He took the vial,
Yeah, you took some blood off of it. I feel like I tried to even maybe it felt like I was trying to bait you.
I think so.
No, he did it, and I was like,
I don't remember too much, but if I remember correctly, there was some pretty heavy peer pressure for people not to mess with that thing. And by people,
I think so too. Yeah, I think people were like, "Don't fucking touch that, dude." A still beating heart driven through with a wooden stake. The only remains of a vampire called Isam, who you met later when you went back in. He was mentioned. Or no, you fought him. I don't know. The Hop. of course, fought him every day of his life.
Mhm.
Is the subject or victim of some diabolical experiment. Yeah, it had 5 charges. You could do cool shit with it.
Maybe Hop should have never left that room.
But he did finally get revenge. There it is. There's this.
He did.
There's Vism's heart.
Good God. Quite the imagery.
It was an artifact. I only use that color for artifacts, level things. That was a semi-early one you could have gotten.
Resistance to necrotic.
Yeah, I mage. Yeah. Why would I? I shouldn't have ever given you guys necrotic resistance ability. Oh, how things would have changed. But this was when you guys were so afraid of being in that sphere. And so this would have been quite a win. Though someone would have had to wear a beating. Which is kind of cool.
And there is a minor downside at the bottom.
There is, yeah, quite minor.
Quite.
Some
Maybe
might say.
understating it a bit.
Yeah, very bad.
Was there any chance of getting Sin's Ember?
At one point of time, I think there was, but the way things played out, by a certain point, it was like not really possible. By the time basically by the time I knew that the outcome of things was going to end with Viscerus basically waiting for you guys in Celestia, like before Viscerus was able to make his plans move forward, there would have been opportunity to get in there and get to the throne and essentially do some whatever else Sin would have had in mind, to protect his thing. But essentially, Viscerus by that time by the time you guys were going to be able to get there, Viscerus had already accelerated his plans enough, I guess, is the best way to explain that. What other embers were there? Elwyn?
One was always a mystery.
Mm-hmm. That one had connections to Brandy.
Brandy.
There would have been, yeah, because Brandy was a Feywild entrance.
Mm.
Also, Emil could have got you into the Feywild.
That was going to be my only other question.
Fine.
What was Emil's deal?
Emil was cursed by a witch, a hag.
Yep.
And it was Vandor.
Who we met.
Yeah. Vandori was chill to you guys, but she was not necessarily chill. But yeah, so he was. I really have to dive in my Google Docs to figure out more. But yeah, he was Labyrinth Elf, cursed. He helped her at some point in time, posing as a thing. But basically, if Emil would have if you guys would have needed Emil and been able to, he could have been a Feywild guide for you guys potentially. But
And what was the deal with the
I don't even know what to call it. Unit, it's the NBC. Unit 116 VCA, whatever.
I cannot answer that question.
Ooh, okay, all right, fun, love that.
Yeah, I cannot answer that question, but it's cool.
I bet it is. I bet it is.
That's a Xerxes Belden Morant mystery that I think is more fun because it's plausible that it could still exist as a mystery. But yeah, it's cool, I think. Yeah, there were definitely some like storylines. Like Xerxes had books that we just never quite like. That was the first one that we like touched, but we just never got to fully explore. So I hope that there is potential to just see a little bits and pieces in the future, whether it's in the next campaign or the one after that. Maybe we'll do one in Morant someday.
Belden is one of the coolest characters that we just never really talked about. Like he's actually fairly important.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a really important Venter guy, right? Like,
Yep.
Yeah, he was Xerxes' master.
yeah.
And he's the one that took him in and taught him.
But like even beyond that, like he's done a lot more, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was associated with the royal family of Greyforge, and then went on to larger and bigger things.
Yeah, Belden was super.
Maybe one day.
I think he actually has a token, if I remember right.
He does. He at least has a picture. Most of those early people did. Just, it's a mess. Yep, he does. Pretty cool, that guy.
Such a cool looking guy.
That's
I
cool.
don't remember what he is in this picture because I know I made him purple. And I know I made him because he was not purple. I needed him to be purple because he was with Labyrinth Elf.
Yeah, we
Even
met
has-
very few labyrinth elves in general.
Yeah, there weren't a lot to be met in
To just
the
reference.
regular world.
I mean, Emil, but he wasn't
Yeah.
really himself when we met him.
He was a little different. Yeah,
Who were all the ones that? Did we even meet any other ones?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, they were only just referenced.
Yeah.
I know Al had a reference to one.
Yeah, does anyone have any like cool things that just never got explored from their own backstories or lore or anything?
You guys see that?
Basically shared all my stuff. What?
I dropped a token on the board.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
That's what Sophie saw on Glenn's head.
Oh yeah.
because Saru could see invisibility,
Yeah.
and it was his invisible familiar
Mm.
that was actually casting the spells.
He didn't have a hand.
Because he didn't have hands.
Shit.
Only legs.
Here's a meal. Ishmael and Durbin.
Yeah, Nate, to answer your question, I had a couple of Gondu things that didn't get explored as much as I wanted to, mainly because we were so focused on the let's go get shards that even when like dropping hints, they were clearly just like not even registering with people. So it was kind of that decision of, do you continue to force it or do you just go, let that go? But that's something that may come up in Croft's campaign. I might adapt it and include it into there, so
Ooh,
that can give him something to look forward to.
more cats?
Yeah, because it was well, probably not more cats, but
baby. Only cats.
it wasn't even cat related. It was just stuff about that the Gondu had with him that I had entire like lore and backstory of, that had we gone that direction and had that been where like people's minds wanted to go as far as like RP and stuff, it would have opened a lot of potential conversations. It also would have done a lot of linking between the Burnt campaign and the Krzik prequel we did.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of stuff that I built into that to then tie back to that and incorporate a lot of that stuff about Upteo and things like that. So, but we'll see what gods and religions Croft has built up.
I think
Or
that's
needs
like
to
the
build up
interesting-
to support.
Haven't you heard the only one true religion of the God Emperor of Aselos?
We all believe in dragon. Yeah, I think there's something interesting about the like bringing in new characters so late to the campaign, like quote unquote late. Like you guys are such high level at that point, so like you can build up such an interesting backstory and like interconnect it with all these things. But we're also at the point where it's like so spear focused on one thing that it's hard to explore those backstory connections. It's like a double-edged sword because it's like you have all these cool things that you've like built in and connected, but then exploring them is almost harder because we're not as focused on that part. Like the whole first procession to Mountain Art that you guys did, like there was so much exploration and lore into your backstories, like into each other and like digging into each other and all that stuff. And then like by the time we were introducing Lagandu, like for instance in Daisen, it's like that really exploration into the character kind of had stopped because the campaign's become so focused on such a massive overarching thing that it's like hard to focus as much on the character because it's like, well, we all need to go do this thing now or everyone's gonna die. No matter what that is. Like just so many fires to be putting out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting to like, look at that. Try to take those thoughts going into our next campaign. Let's see what we can do there.
I can.
Is there
I
any
can.
additional stuff we could have learned? You can go ahead, Nate.
Oh, I was just gonna say I can read you guys the last 10 remaining Herringons, and you can get a glimpse into how stupid my mind is and what Michael had to deal with.
Oh, that's so good.
All right, so I said
Do it.
These 10 would be the last Harengon to ever live. They were the following: Whiteleaf, 87, Cleric of Helwyn and Chief of the Tribe. Hop, 35, Swashbuckling Rogue, next in line and inspirational leader. Swift Feet, 28, Ranger, Hunter, Gatherer, Survivalist. Brighttail, 48, Paladin of Helwyn, Protector of the Tribe. Dash, 16, Bard, Multi-Instrumentalist, and Lighthearted Kid. Carrot, 31, Wizard, Resident Nerd of the Village.
Hell yeah.
Sharptooth, 56, Fighter, former Coliseum champion, although those days are long behind him. Spring, 23, Druid, farmer, kind of a downer. Crimson, 28, Swiftfeet's twin brother. Albino, a warlock of Titania. And Jolt, 13, child, just a straight up child.
I remember that. Just a straight up child.
Oh god.
That was the only time in anything I ever wrote that I literally gave them all like small parts of personality and for some reason specified what class they were.
It's fun.
So funny. And then Hop's brain was turned into a Slurpee, like just a few sessions later. It's like, it's cool. Cool. Just a straight up child.
Yeah, I have in
Was
here
there
about
anything in the Tower of Bray?
Yeah.
For
Anything in there?
Yeah,
What do
before
you?
we, like all the. I just have. Was there anything else we could have learned from the Tower of Bray and didn't? And then I have the the human statues that showed all the organs are different.
Yeah, there were. It was a lot of connections to the mind flayers in there. There was doors that you guys could have went through. I think they had to be unlocked somehow. That teleported to certain places, and I think Clavius could have read those, if I'm not mistaken, and did maybe.
What were there? I was getting cut out for a second.
There in the Tower of Bray, when you guys were underneath, there were some symbols on the doors that no one could read, but I think Clavius could read those and did, potentially. Somebody did.
I don't remember.
Because
do you remember what they were in?
Maybe it was Isabel.
It
was
I'm
Isabel,
starting to think it
wasn't
was Isabel.
Maybe it was Isabel. Maybe I just thought Clavius because
He was
likes to
evil.
shoot me those emails. Maybe it was Isabel that read them. I don't know. Somebody read them because it was like, God, what were they called? One of them was. I'll have to look at them. I don't even know where that would be in my notes.
Isabel wanted to learn more about what was going on in there,
Pretty sure it was Isabel.
but it started imploding, so we had to leave.
What session that was? That's what I would tell to Croft. Name every session.
You know, I did. Isabel did keep a journal up to day. I didn't write it by session. I wrote it by day, in game,
Damn.
up to day 54.
That's really deep, I feel like.
Well, I mean, we had that abridged guide to the
Mhm.
bird that we tracked
Yeah.
for a while, and then it
Then the threads became
faded,
too.
or we lost track, or
Yeah, I was trying to look through like my Google Drive, like shared with me, feeling like some of the stuff wasn't tagged to me or something. Or I didn't. Maybe I don't. Oh, there it is. Bridge guide to the burn. Session, yeah, goes up to session 66 with breaks in between. Some of them are just the YouTube links.
Yeah.
See you in there, Preston.
Yeah, that's what my questions were.
I would say this was the thing I was
The end of
looking
season 1, I
for
made
like
that little-
an hour ago. This was the thing I was
Oh,
looking
really?
for. I'm like, what was the
Yeah.
document called?
Yeah.
I forgot we called it an abridged guide. I glossed over it.
The group meets its biggest challenge yet. A wall of bones. Seemingly impassable for some.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, I couldn't climb over it.
Yeah. Amazing. Never forget.
And then we killed the god.
Yeah. And then they killed a god. I should have put a wall of bones. I should have built a wall of bones.
My god, I wrote
Yeah.
it done.
Deep speech. It was deep speech.
I was.
One of them said Nexus. One of them said
Don't.
Chaos Nest.
Isabel doesn't speak it. Maybe she passed a check or something. Because she knows
some-
several languages. She knew Primordial. I don't know if that would have given her an edge.
Abyssal Tear. Station 1 Research. Platform Ascension. Station 2 Research Arcanum. Host 1 Slave Center. Host 2 Nourishment Center. Chaos Nest.
Yeah, that definitely sounds more mind flayery.
Yeah, I had specific DCs, DC 20 for some hard stuff. Yeah, they all had things. They all had things.
So,
That's where you fought your first like bossy type person down
what happened to the Jubilee? Was it Jubilex or something?
there. Dewey Blacks, yeah.
Jubilex.
Yep.
So we never
that-
heard about that again after a while.
That was originally going to be a big part of things. Originally, I guess it was both my and Mistress's idea that Dewey Bless would devour the corpses of the gods and destroy their embers. But at some point, you all changed the game. And that just changed the focus. And Dewey Bless was no longer part of Viscerus's plan.
We wrote him out of the timeline.
Yeah.
So what? So is that when we went to the like? I forget what was it called, like the cradle. When we killed the.
Yeah, the Dewey Bless was going to be called through that portal that you guys ended up going through. That led to the cradle.
Cradle, and it was like
Yeah,
I forget what it was called. It was,
Cradle of the Death God. The
yeah, but the thing we killed inside there,
the Atropal.
the Atropal, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we killed that, that's when Viscera showed up and murdered us.
Correct.
Efficiently.
Very, very efficiently.
Very
I definitely remember getting hit by that 100-point
Mhm.
necrotic thing.
Yeah, think about that now. Didn't even hurt.
Yeah, well, one resistance and one custom spell later.
Yeah. We're good to go.
I didn't think anyone was getting out of that room with Viscerus the first time. I didn't think there was a chance.
Underestimated my cowardice.
And Salig and Xerxes both got in. Very impressive.
That should have been the canary in the coal mine that necrotic resistance was going to be an issue for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Viscera should have found some new ways to deal damage. For real.
So, Michael, this may be innocuous enough to forget. What was said on the breeze in the language we did not understand when we first passed over the wall for the very first time?
Let me see. I think that's probably written down because there is language that you get that no one knew. I think and that's why you didn't get it. Good question. That should be the first session, maybe the second. Feel free to ask more things while I look for that.
Sure. I don't know. I think it was Michael that was probably taking notes for this abridged guide, at least initially. But this one, on session 4, Saru says, "Hey, Sir Garen, what's our horse's name?" Sir Garen says, "Doesn't have a name. I don't like naming horses because they always die." And the group decides to name the horse Bojack, old BJ.
Yep.
Then attacked by wolves who were attacked by Vrox, rip old BJ, rip Sir Garen.
Let's all never
Easily
forget
4
that it was
sessions
Connor.
later. Yeah. Just 4 sessions later. Fire and Sheets is OP to be nerfed or to be patched in future editions.
Mhm, I remember that.
8 sessions and then we were done.
The episode 2. Did you guys go over the wall in episode 1? Must have.
It was day 11 when Sir Garen did it.
Yeah.
Oddly
Crossed
enough,
over the
I
old
wrote,
battery.
the horse was slain, and so was Sir Garrett.
Shit. They're so bad. There's Nick trying to get money from
Mm, the number 2. Right hand of the Sons of Briarwood. I forget his name. I don't know what you're talking about.
Lucian.
Yeah.
It was none shall pass. Is what you heard on the wind. Well, what you heard voices on the wind, but that's what it said. Shall pass.
Showed him.
For real.
Maybe something you can't answer, but was Selrani and the rest of them? We always assumed they were taken over by the Mind Flayers, but is that what happened? And if so, like when did that happen?
They did not. Selrani was not ever actually taken over, but she did have some there was some influences going on, including Viscerus. In Old Greyforge. There was also some early connections between Greyforge and frickin' Stevens dudes. God, why am I blanking? The Unseen. The Unseen.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because it seemed like there was like a union of like various the various powers.
Yeah, they're
In
yeah, the Unseen and
Chaos, who were the
the
demons,
the old Chaos Legion.
the Chaos Legion, which we didn't really see much after we dealt with that one cave.
Yeah,
That
we
one
kind of wiped him out.
Yeah, you did. The mine was kind of their last. Well, I mean, technically, the keep was also supposedly being run by two members of the Chaos Legion, but you found their corpses in the upper room.
Keep.
And the keep in the swamp. That I can't
Okay,
remember what it's called. That you guys just fucking dominated with black powder. I wish I knew what that place was.
Black powder also should have been nerfed after, just like the flaming bed sheets.
Like it's, not wrong. Absolutely not.
It was a
wrong.
little bit rarer than bed sheets, though.
Yeah. Bed sheets didn't show up again though after that.
Sure, I did not. Never again.
Nerf.
Xerxes had a way of making more black powder. He could pretty much always have an infinite supply.
Yeah.
Explosions are fun, though.
True. Really needed to nerf gunslingers. Was one of the things I should have nerfed.
I think he was well balanced, personally. He never, to be fair, he was never the big damage dealer necessarily.
No.
It was just
Mr.
consistent, yeah. And like that range, like having infinite range was helpful.
Yeah, early on, you guys were like just absolutely a ranged devastation machine.
There was in one of the, I was just reading through this, one of the most, you actually know, it's like Vrock's attack, range combat is OP, to be nerfed in the future.
Yep. I feel like I remember Connor saying, like, are they within 600 feet or whatever?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep.
I think Steven hadn't even revealed his magic use yet. That was just pure, like, hey, Anna's got a bow, we've got a gun, we're good to go.
I think I remember a combat too where we literally killed them all before they got to us. Like no one got touched and everything was dead.
We're
fighting. That was like demons on a bridge, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The dretches.
The dredges on the
Remember
bridge.
that?
Yeah. I remember. I don't think I literally did anything that fight.
Yeah. There were multiple of those where I realized, like, description and then set piece made things a little more fun and interesting than like long range approach to something, because it's just like
Mhm.
inevitable just murder or actual like easier.
And many of the things didn't shoot back. They had to get in our face.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, just have to get up in your business. They can't do damage if they don't touch
Yeah.
you.
I think we were fighting more beastie, monstrous stuff at the start. Like
Yeah,
we
big
weren't
time.
really fighting like smart enemies yet. Could be pretty easy to just pot shot them.
God, Warbreath was fireballed on session 22?
Yeah,
Wow.
It was that
Lifetime
early?
ago. Lifetime
Yeah.
ago.
That sounds about right.
Mhm.
R.I.P.
Because they were talking about that troll cave nearby.
Because it was right before the Volmer fight. Yep, Warbreath is fireball.
Warbreath was fucking awesome, and I'm so
January
mad we're gonna have to
26th,
use him.
2021.
Same
Fucking
session as
why?
when Steven reveals his time magic.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Warbreath was challenge rating 3. He had a raging summon, uncanny dodge, sneak attack. He wielded a dog slicer. You guys would have loved him.
Have?
You would have
They'll
loved him.
do.
As a party member, I'm saying.
Oh. As a player, yes. I don't think Isabel would have ever liked him.
You would have never accepted his raging summon. And he even had summons ready for him to summon.
Yeah, because he was the barbarian. A barbarian.
Yeah, a scald.
Scald, that's what it's called.
I will need to bounce here in a minute, so you can either watch Nathaniel's on YouTube or if you want to do it now. Both were great to me.
We can do it now. Dun, dun. If credits. You good, Will? Post credit, please.
Good, Nat. I love this game.
Maybe not. Okay. We will. I've got to figure out which song. That one. I think I would remember the names of these songs after this one. Okay. Credits finished rolling. Open up on a new scene. We pan down toward a humble one-room cabin, the countryside. As the camera gets closer, we can hear indistinguishable talking from within the cabin. Then all of a sudden, a woman shouting from within. No, get out! You, get out! He can't! He won't do it! I won't let him! You say to let his true self out to ease the pressure. But that would be worse than the monster that plagues him now. That's no cure. That solves none of our problems. Get out! Get out! To think I asked for your help. Out! The door of the cabin flies open. We watch as an old woman is thrown from the wooden cabin. Black and white cards filling the air immediately thereafter. Hear a loud thud as the heavy door slams shut, shaking the small structure from the force. As the camera approaches the old woman, we can see her clearly. A silk-head scarf covers most of her hair. What protrudes below the silken scarf is a mixture of pure white and dirty gray, similar to the look of taking a pelt from a winter rabbit, wiping it across the soot from within a fireplace. Her long earrings dangle nearly to her shoulders, the weight of them causing her earlobes to lengthen over the many years of her life. Around her neck hangs a necklace of teeth. From what creatures the teeth come, we can only guess. The crone begins to gather the cards from the ground outside the cabin. She immediately realizes she is not alone on the porch. Without looking, greets the child, sharing the porch with her. Greetings, child. You need not be afraid of me. I am simply the bearer of a message. Sometimes it takes a while for that message to be received. Tell me, what is your name? We see a boy about 6 years old, shy, avoidant, barely able to muster his response.
Henry.
Ah, Henry. Do you know what that name means? It means house ruler. Now, Henry, tell me your full name.
Nathaniel Henry.
So Nathaniel Henry it is it? Do you know what Nathaniel means? It means the gods have given us. The old woman turns to look directly at the child. Her face grows solemn as she attempts to elucidate her next words. The 6-year-old child will remember them long after she is gone. Nathaniel Henry Hunt. The gods have anointed you as the ruler of this house. It is in your very name. There will be a time you will need to live into that promise for the sake of more than your family. I fear it could be for the sake of the world. You know what he is. Imagine what he could do with unlimited power. Very soon your world will be turned upside down. You will have sorrow. Be patient. Grow in strength. And when the time is right, you will have the chance to live into your name. To be the ruler of your house. The crone looks the child over to ensure the magnitude of her words had registered. And it had. Oh, I almost didn't see that one. Hand me that card by your feet. Would you, child? The child obliged, picking up the card at his feet and handing it to the old woman. The upside-down lover's card. You will become one flesh with another, and have great turmoil with him. The crone sighed to herself. But we mustn't take things so literally. I probably wouldn't worry about this too much. It is likely just symbolic. The scene fades out. We fade into a different, darker place. The walls of obsidian give the room a cold and ancient appearance. The red glowing flecks within the walls, giving enough light to see. A chandelier hangs from the ceiling over a concrete slab. The setting from within the mind of Clavius is unmistakable.
Brother, you fail me again. These sparring sessions are quite boring. Why did I give you the power to call upon the Echo when you don't maximize its use? Why did I give you the power to become a literal giant if you won't use its strength?
We see Nathaniel on the ground, bleeding. No doubt having just suffered another pummeling within these unforgiving walls.
Easy to say when it's 3 against 1. You have your hellish owl and your mindless brute keeping you from getting what you deserve.
We see Abdelbaith, the heat on his stone beak still emanating from the fiery blast that blinded Nathaniel, leaving him open for a flurry of attacks. And we see Kavan, one head, one body, distinct from Nathaniel and standing over him, great axe in hand. From within the mind of Clavius, the master had control over a great many things, and right now it was his desire to fight Nathaniel, and Nathaniel alone.
Oh, well, I guess you're right. This one served his purpose fairly well in stealing me from that bag and bringing me to the twins. But I suppose I can see how you would think this isn't fair.
And with that statement, Blade of Shadows appeared in the hands of Clavius' heart, and off came the head of Kavan. It seemed rather unceremonious, Nathaniel being tethered to him for so long and all.
I see that surprised you. Well, to tell you the truth, I just didn't have much use for that one anymore. It's you I want. Well, not so much you as your image, you see. There's a divine ember just north of here. I dare not try to take it alone. Who knows what may lie in wait there? But I know I am not the only one seeking it. Very soon, your ex-companions will arrive in Brandy and will attempt to take it. I'm sure they would love to have the help of an old friend. Nathaniel retorted. An old friend? They know you as an enemy. They would kill you on sight.
Clavius sighed for 2 reasons. One, Nathaniel was right. They would attempt to kill him on sight. Sadly, that group just couldn't see that he was the one who could make the wrong things right. That his plan and his vision would ensure justice in this world. They were so short-sighted. But he also sighed at the lack of imagination from his brother.
Yes, I doubt they would welcome me with open arms. But I bet they would welcome you, no questions asked.
A look of realization took the face of Nathaniel. So that was the plan of this monster. To trap him inside this hellhole, to impersonate him, in order to gain access to an ember.
They won't fall for it. You can look like me, but you can't be me. Can't be you? Can't be you? I can do anything in here. Haven't you noticed you can turn into a giant now? Haven't you noticed you can call an echo now? Haven't you noticed the head of your permanent roommate on the ground beside you? Do you think those things go away when you step outside? No, you keep them. I make the rules in here and it sticks. Just think, Nathaniel. Just think when the world is like this place. when it bends to my will, when it obeys my command, it will be glorious. I won't let you. I'll get out. I'll tell them. I'll do something. Great plan. Get out and tell them you might be me. I'm sure you won't get shot in the face for that. No, no, brother. If you ever do get out, I promise, if you breathe one word of my plan to them, they will never trust you again.
Damn it, Nathaniel thought to himself. He was right. Even if he got out, he would never be able to ask for aid. They would never believe him. Clavius had hornswoggled them too many times. He was beaten, weak, defeated.
You killed my father, Clavius. You killed my mother. You're a monster.
Clavius, enraged, yelled back.
I killed mother? I killed mother. I loved her more than you ever could. She was my everything. How dare you? How dare you? Mercy, I was going to let you stay here, but you have pushed me too far.
Clavius lifted the shadow blade above his head, looking down one last time at his only remaining family.
Goodbye, dear brother. Today will be the end of you. I will take your body. I will take the ember. I will take the throne.
Maybe it was for his father. Maybe it was for his mother. Maybe, like the crone said, it was for the sake of the world. But in that moment, Nathaniel Henry Hart found the strength to fight back, try one last great time to live into his birthright, to be the ruler of his house as decreed by the gods themselves. The shadow blade screamed down toward the neck of Nathaniel, but it didn't find flesh. The hilt of the dawn hammer taking the full force of the attack. Locked in a stalemate, Nathaniel pushed back against the pressure of the blade, finding strength that matched, nigh, exceeded that of his brother. And as he found his feet, with weapons still locked between the combatants, he stared deep into his soul.
Not today. Not ever.
The chamber echoes, with hammer and blade each finding their mark. Magic dances off the obsidian walls. Fire schemes shoot through the room. The camera pans back further, further. Two brothers fighting for their lives, for their family, for the fate of the world. For one, the celestial throne, all its power awaits. For the other, the end of their story. The camera pulls back further and further, till nothing remains but darkness. Blackout. Bottle cap. Oh.
To be continued.
So good.
That's awesome.
What? Implications abound.
Mysteries remain.
Mysteries remain. Look at all these chaps. That's it, folks. That's the burnt. Wrapped. Put it in the ground.
Good job, y'all.
All right, Prof, what do you think? You got all the info? You ready to run it next?
A good amount. A good amount. I could add one last thing at the end here.
Ooh, yeah. What
Teaser.
kind of vibe do you want?
I hinted at it earlier in the night when I said there is yet to be one ember shown. The ember of the warden. Whenever party of the Ascended had finished igniting their embers and sit in Celestia together, whatever they think of each other in this moment can come in time, but things do not remain bright for long. As the skies darken, thunder clashes in the distance. And the last ember ignites. Enjoy your gilded cage.